guys, welcome to Tub Talk. I have one of my best friends here with me. Her name is Tash.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking about life in LA and what it's like. Friendships, relationships, outings, all of it.
I'm just happy I have you. Honestly, it makes LA way better.
Do you personally find it hard to make genuine friends in LA?
Now I've noticed a lot more that I'm taking more time for the people that I trust and like I have that deeper connection with. I'm like valuing that a lot more than I ever have, because I've noticed also just with success, you kind of lose some people and you gain some new friends, but that's why I'm like, when you find those real ones, I'm like, oh, cherish that.
Yeah.
How about you?
I feel like coming to LA from the South was like very different, and also this lifestyle is very different. So I feel like relationships here are just, I don't know, the basis of them are just completely different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I think also when you are in entertainment, whether you're an influencer, whether you're an actor, whether you're anything, all of your relationships change once that happens and once you're in that industry, because someone might treat you different because of, you know, multiple different reasons. But I just feel like, it's harder. All the people when I first came here that I thought were my friends, I was treating them like relationships from where I'm from. And here you can't really do that. So I think I had higher expectations than what the reality of like friendship in LA is. Yeah. Obviously besides you and Tara, but literally besides you and Tara, The genuine friendships you have found, what do you value in those friendships and how do you decipher?
Yeah, I feel like with you right away, I could tell, like, I was like, you're just a genuine person. But definitely, like, the thing that I value the most about, like, the real friendships that I have is being completely myself and having that freedom to share parts of my life. And having the freedom to share all aspects of my life without feeling like, oh, are they going to take that information now and use that against me? Or are they going to share that with people that I don't want to know that? Which is sad that you actually have to think about that now.
Yeah, it's so weird. I think that's like what I've had to learn the past few years, because I haven't been on the internet for that long. And it was definitely like a shock. And I feel like all my relationships shifted, and then like I said, getting used to relationships here, you really never know. I was used to being such an open book and just kind of like, here I am, right on the table. And I would just kind of say whatever. And then it's like, I've had instances where people have used my vulnerability against me. So it's kind of changed the way that I approach people and approach relationships. It's almost made me like, I don't know if jaded's the right word, but almost like a healthy level of jaded, to where you protect yourself and you only let certain people that you trust their energy into your space. Yeah,
it made me definitely a lot more picky with who I hang out with.
Yeah.
I was like, do I want that around me?
I feel like I already know the answer, but
You know me so well.
What do you prefer, going out on the weekends or like staying home?
I love staying home and having my friends over to my house. Just because you get to choose the people that you're having over, and I don't know, I just love quality time. I can't be at a club, honestly. Like, I want to be able to have conversation and feel like I'm like engaging with my friends if I'm around them. At a club, I'm like, I can't even hear you. We're just gonna end up drinking and just like singing a song to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like there was a time in the beginning of me coming to LA where like that was kind of just, I don't know. I never really went out in my teenage years or kind of, I never really did that college thing. Yeah. So I guess I never really had that experience. So when I first came to LA and I was 21, and you know, the friendships that I had at that time, I did.
What did you guys do?
But I never, you know, just went out to clubs and did that whole thing. And I was never, I don't know, I was always just sitting there. Just kind of like, woo! So
I feel like you have to be drunk in this situation.
exactly. So now I feel like I just don't do it because I just know that I don't prefer it. Maybe if there was a special occasion or a specific reason.
Or just like dancing with friends. I'm like,
Yeah.
If it's like we're going to dance, then yeah, it's great.
Yeah. If there was a specific I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it's definitely not my
go-to.
No, not at all.
What's your go-to?
Same thing, just hanging out, either coming and hanging out with y'all or just hanging out around the house. I like to cook a lot, so just cooking and I don't know, just letting the light come in. Just frolicking about.
I want to start doing more activities together, because when I did, like, I went to like a shooting range with like my friends, and then it was cool because you actually make memories when you do different activities. So I was like, we definitely need to do. Tara said, what's that, archery or
oh, like a bow and arrow?
Yeah, she was like, that was actually amazing. But like you actually remember, because like if you're not doing like anything different every weekend, then it feels like, oh, what did we do last weekend?
Right.
But if you have activities,
I'm totally down. I'm down to get out the box. Do something in nature, something, outdoorsy. From your experience, what is dating like in LA?
Dating in LA is interesting. I actually don't like dating people in my friend group because I'm like, I kind of like to keep it separate, and like then I get to know them and I come up with my own opinion of them, and then just in case it goes bad, they're not there all the time. So I've actually, like, the way that I meet people is usually like dating apps or Instagram, which is sad, but I don't really like going out, so that's just more convenient. Yeah, definitely, like, even now with like successes and things like that, I've noticed that people bring up like, oh, you're part of that agency, like, can I, then you can tell if they're like actually interested in me. I'm noticing if they're actually interested in my agency.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, I feel like guys are just, I don't know, out here it's just kind of how it seems online is true. Like, it is all about clout.
Yeah.
Like, people, it's like, if you have it, you're talking to someone and you wonder in the back of, at least in my experience, I personally don't care about it, but you wonder, you can feel that the other person cares about it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, if I didn't have these followers, would you even like me?
How can you tell when they care about it? I feel like that's
if they bring it up, or if you hear that they're telling their friends like, oh yeah, like this, but like you can just, I don't know, it's just something you can feel. Or like always wanting to post stories beyond what's natural. Because I feel like when you're first getting to know someone, if that's the first thing, unless it's a unless you're like, oh hey, like let's work together, or like that's the meaning of why you're hanging out with someone. But if it's just on like a friendship or a relationship level and you're already coming out the gate doing that, it's just kind of like, hey, like, let's get to know each other. Like, let's not like add that weird part of how life is now into the mix, because the world is just so captured by social media now, and I feel like it's complicated a lot of things.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, I don't know.
I feel like even guys, in a weird way, they think because I've been around guys where at first I tell them, oh, that's my friend such and such, and then they're like, oh, cool. And then when I say that she's an influencer or like it's something about that she has a following, all of a sudden they're like, oh, she's actually pretty hot. Yeah, I think, and I'm like, oh, you changed. Like, I feel like in a weird way, they're not even sure if they like them for the right reasons. Like, I feel like in like some fucked up way, they're like, oh, people like them, so I should like them. It's like, it's so sad.
Right. Like, there's always that part just in the back of their head. You know what I mean? Whether it's like more towards the front or the back, I just feel like you can tell if it's there or not, or even just like who you're connected to, or who you're, I don't know. It's definitely a factor out here. So I feel like it's harder to like find a genuine connection. Because you never really fully know in a lot of, I'm not saying you don't, but in most situations, it's kind of hard to tell.
How do you like go about that then? Like, how do you choose people?
I don't know. I mean, well, when I met Royce, like, I don't know, it was in person. It wasn't like online, which I know nowadays is like a rarity. But we met in person and we didn't know each other. and it was a genuine connection.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I could feel from the beginning. I could feel his genuineness, and I knew that it wasn't...
like overly kissing your ass.
Yeah, no, it was just very, like, I think the key is if you really feel that feeling of, I can be myself no matter what, because you can feel deep down, do I feel like I can be my full self with this person?
Yeah.
And if you feel like you can, then it's genuine.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's so complicated. It's so much more complicated than, like, being from a normal town. And
that's what I can't even imagine, because you grew up so differently. And, like, because I grew up in LA, so I'm very used to it, and I know how to, like, set boundaries with certain people. And I've been raised my whole life, which is sad, but to know what information to share with who. And I was like, I thought that was just normal until I meet people from other areas that were like, oh, I have to, like, worry about this now.
Yeah, it's completely different. Like, I will say, totally the culture shock thing that people say.
Because what's your hometown like?
You know, the nearest big city is New Orleans, and New Orleans is like a totally different vibe than here. It's not like it's a big city, but it's, in terms of big, comparing it to Los Angeles, is it's like this big. Like, it's very tiny, and people there are just very warm, and I don't know, it's so welcoming and loving, and there's so much culture there. And I grew up in a city that's like 40 minutes across the lake from there.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a suburb. I guess it's a suburb. And yeah, it's just kind of more slow pace, not really too much. You don't have that like direct access to, not that it's like out in the boondocks, because it's not, but it's not as developed as here. Yeah. Not to say it's underdeveloped, it's just not as... Like here, it's like you're in the now. Everybody around the world is hearing about news in LA. Yeah. All the, stuff in the world is kind of centered around like here, New York, places like that. Where I'm from is just kind of like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? So everything's a lot more chill. People are a lot more chill, more loving, not as judgmental. That's awesome. When you meet someone, the first question is, what do you do? It's like, it's just like, hey, how are you doing? So yeah, coming from that and coming to this and being a person that is in social media, and I never thought I would be. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. I think now I'm finally starting to get used to it, but it took me a really long time. Yeah. Like, it took me probably up until this year to get used to it. And I started at 21 and now I'm 24. So it took me probably this whole time to get used to it. So people there also are, at first they were treating me different too. Oh, really? Because they were like, I don't know, kind of a vibe of, they almost, and these are friends of friends. The people that I'm really close to, it was never different. Same, But like my best friend Sophia, some of her friends were treating me different because they thought that I thought I was better, but I didn't think that.
Like, I'm not.
So I'm like, bro, like, I don't care.
She thinks she's the shit, but really you're just bringing out their insecurities.
Yeah, because like I think people there, like it's not like a normal, like there's not just a bunch of people there that blew up on social media at all. Yeah. So, but yeah. So here's a couple of questions that you guys asked, and if you want to be featured on another episode, then send in more questions. Do you feel a pressure to look perfect all the time? Or how does that affect you? Yeah, definitely, at least living in LA, there's always that, like, definitely, especially as a female, there's more pressures because as you get older, I'm 32, which is funny. So every time I meet someone, and everybody's like pretty much in their early 20s that I meet in this industry. So as soon as I say my age, you're like, oh my God, and like freaking out. You're like, God, it's really not that crazy. Like, damn it. So there's definitely like those pressures of like, people are like, oh, so you're probably trying to settle down now. You probably like, you're boring now. You're blah, blah, blah. But I feel like a lot too. People probably give you that, like I do, because not because of that reason. That's not the because you just are. I thought you were, when I met you, I thought you were my age. No, not that that's even that much younger, but it's like I thought you could have been even younger than me. Like, you look like you're like 23 years old, so your genes are just absolutely just impeccable. But I think the fear of that, because even like on the other side, it's like, oh, so once I am older, will I not be able to be around? Right. Or like, oh, what, like, from hindsight, thinking, putting myself in your shoes. Yeah, I guess that's not really the reaction you want to have whenever, because you think like, oh, is that bad?
Should
like,
I not
does
be
that
here?
mean I'm like past a certain age or something?
Should I have a baby now?
So you feel like that type of pressure from that.
Yeah, definitely. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think once I hit a certain point, I stopped caring, but definitely for the first couple years, I did feel that pressure because I felt like I needed to look a certain way, and also because the internet is just so mean. So, you know, anytime I would, like, there was one time where I was leaving a restaurant, and it was after, this was before I was gluten-free, so before I realized I was allergic to gluten.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with, like, I would eat, and then I would get super swollen and, like, bloated.
Yeah, 'cause your body
and,
didn't like it.
yeah. And that was sort of new.
Yeah.
In the past, like, when I was 21, I didn't have that problem. So, in the past, that I developed it somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I was leaving a restaurant, and paparazzi was outside and like took a picture of me, like took a bunch of pictures of me from different angles, and I got like posted on this TikTok site saying how like, oh, you know, look at her stomach, it's so big, like she's actually like fat, but she edits herself that she's not fat. And I'm like, bro, I just stuffed my face at
Dude,
Catch.
see me anytime I
Like-
leave a restaurant, I'm like, I don't want to show my stomach.
Yeah, but it's like, even
Yeah,
if
but
I
still,
was,
yeah.
why is it okay to attack? Because I thought we were in the era of like every body type is okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just getting used to feeling like you have to suck in or look a certain way because you don't want people to start blasting you. It's like, come
Yeah,
on. Like,
that's annoying.
first of all, I was bloated because I just ate. Like, I can eat, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I was eating. I'm by no means shy to eat. Like, no matter who I'm around. And I was eating that day.
Yeah.
Because I love Catch. I was
Yeah,
eating a
it's
bunch of
so
shit. Like, I just feel like it's totally not okay. I feel like when you're in the public eye in any form,
Yeah.
it's hard because how can you not think more about the way that your body looks? Because on the internet, everybody poses in a certain way that makes you look skinnier. I mean, I've done it. Like,
Yeah.
everyone does it. Like,
Exactly.
so then it's like we're creating this standard, but then,
You almost have to keep up with it though.
yeah, but then it's like, it's just a weird cycle. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely felt the pressure, but I think in this past year, I don't know.
It's
I
even
just
with,
really
like,
don't care.
It's even with like filters because you're like, well, fuck, if I just post me normal now, I'll look ugly compared to every other person.
Right.
I was like, you almost have to like keep up with the shittiness just because everybody else is doing it.
Right, I know. It's like, it's very weird. It's a weird like cycle. What do you feel like is your favorite thing about LA?
The thing I love the most about LA is the opportunities. Like the jobs I hear in LA that people are actually doing, I'm like, that's so sick because nowhere else in the world can you like have a job like that. And I feel like a lot of people are definitely trying to do things that they're actually like passionate about, which is really like inspiring to be around. So there is like, I definitely know the things that I wouldn't have if I was living anywhere else. So
Yeah.
how about you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, where I come from, I love the South. I really do. And I think the older I get into actual adulthood, I've realized how important my Southern roots are to me and how it's a huge part. It's who I am. I am and always will be a Southern person. But coming to a place like this, the opportunity is just so much bigger here. You can do literally anything you want.
Yeah.
And I think when I came here, I really realized, because I was really led here. I never thought I would come here. I was kind of led here and I just kind of let it happen. And just the way the world opened up was like, whoa, anything is possible. Yeah. And, you know, obviously, you know, people would think, oh, well, you have to, it's about luck, it's about this, it's about that. I mean, it is. Part of it is about luck, but it's a large portion of it is also what you're willing to do.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to go out and make something happen, because it's really not going to happen if you don't try.
Yeah, you have to do something.
Yeah. So I think before I came here, when I was in Louisiana and I started blowing up even a little bit, I had like 30 or 50,000. And, you know, my friend was like, hey, I have a place. I need a roommate. You're coming.
That's it.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. Like, I just felt it in my gut and I went for it, and it was terrifying. But if I would have never made that jump out of my comfort zone, my life would have never changed the way it did. My life changed so much.
And you actually gave up like a career. Like, it wasn't just like a...
Yeah. It was a big deal. Like I worked so hard to go through, and you know what it's like. We're both licensed cosmetologists. It was really hard, and I was paying for it myself. I didn't get it for free. It was really hard. I was serving, paying for it, and the month I made a year in my career, everything was going so great. The month I made a year, this all happened, and I put in my 2 weeks, and I just left and moved across the country away from everyone and everything I've ever known in my whole life.
That's so cool.
And it changed my life, because here it's like so much it is a harsh place, in the fact of like, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted, like at all, because the pressure and the judging and the competition is really intense. And it could easily break people. I've seen it happen. Yeah. It definitely put me through a really hard time, but I came out on the other side. And I think like that's kind of really what it's about. What are you willing to do, and how strong is your spirit? Because it is hard. But I love the opportunity here. It's beautiful. The weather's amazing. The mountains, I think that was one of the things when I first came here that I was not used to, was all the mountains. Oh no. There's no mountains where I'm from. It's just flat. It's just normal. Like just nothing special. You know what I mean? And then I came here and I was like, whoa, this place looks sick. Like you're like driving through the mountains. Malibu was like, I feel like I was in Europe.
That's like the calming area.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the South?
No. I want to. That's
not a single state?
Literally, because all my family lives in Europe, so I always went to like, which was cool because I got to like get out of just this bubble, and like I feel like that's what made me who I am today, is like seeing that people think differently. Right. But like I definitely need to go to states. I'm like, I've been on like the coast, like New York, and like I need to do like the inner.
Well, you can come visit me.
I'm gonna live with you one day.
Yeah, you can come visit me in Louisiana. I love Louisiana. Like, you've never been to Florida?
I've been to Miami, but I don't even,
because that's even kind of, Miami is a really happening city.
Yeah, like, that's what I was like.
It's kind of like, that is the South, but it's still very like, it's one of those cities, you know? So I wouldn't say it accurately depicts the South, but probably more similarly. Yeah. Than West Coast, obviously. The West Coast is like a totally different
its own
vibe. Like totally different. But yeah, definitely. You'll have to come like next year for Mardi Gras or something like that.
That'd be so sick.
Have some crawfish.
That's what I really want. I was like, send me pics. Let me be jealous.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really good. I see, people from Louisiana or from those southern states, we're like crawfish snobs, because we'll see other places trying to do it, and we're like, what are you doing? You're cooking it wrong. What's happening? Like, some people will put the seasoning on after it's cooked, and we're like, what are you doing? I don't think I would ever really even eat crawfish that wasn't from the South, because it's obviously shipped. Yeah. Which you should never eat crawfish that's been shipped. Yeah. Because that means that it's died before it was cooked. Oh. Or it's like been frozen, which it's different. It makes the taste different. Like in Louisiana, it's literally like they're alive and then they go straight in. I heard they don't feel pain. Oh, that's a little dark. But like that. But yeah, they're fresh. Long story short, they're very, very fresh. They come out of the swamp like that day. Damn. And then you go and you order sacks and you go pick up your sacks and then you have the crawfish. So it's like extremely fresh. So I'll try it. Yeah. But I feel like I'm not gonna like it.
The only way I can relate is when I was in Mexico, they literally got the fish from the ocean, gave it to us like sushi, and I was like, that's the best sushi I've ever had.
Yeah, because it's like that freshness.
Straight, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I need to try it. Yeah. To have a really real opinion, but yeah, I'm pretty particular on like crawfish because they're not from here. So why would I eat them here? Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like they're not from here. So what are we doing? What are we all doing here?
It's not fuck around.
Yeah, not with crawfish. It's a delicacy. You just gotta. Everybody wait. It's like one time a year where you can eat it, and like I'll travel near and far. Mike's fine. I'll travel far for those any day. Thank you so much, guys, for watching Tub Talk with Tash.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I hope that you come on again.
Of course.
And yeah, if you guys have any other questions that you want me to answer with my guests on a future episode, definitely send them in. And yeah, I'll see you next time.